Hi, welcome to Made to Heal with Angela Brown. Before I get started on my topic of why are we so hard on ourselves, I want to go ahead and invite you to click on the link in the comments below to my book called You Are Made to Heal Spiritually, Emotionally, Mentally, and Physically. I was stuck in a hard place for 30 plus years. I was stuck with suicidal thoughts, depression, postpartum depression, which is like depression on steroids. I was angry. I was bitter. I had childhood trauma that I didn't know how to get past. I was in victim mode and I didn't know how to get past the shame, the guilt, the whatever, the bitterness and all this stuff, the resentment. I didn't know how to get past that until I hit rock bottom in the fall of 2015. And I just remember the last time, and I share my experience. I'm not going to get into detail. I share the experience in detail in my book of how I hit rock bottom. But basically, I went to God and Christ, and I'm like, you are going to have to show me how. Show me what happiness looks like. Show me how to be different and a different way, because I just keep hitting my head on a brick wall and keep getting the same result, right? Wanting different results, but I'm getting the same results because I'm doing the same thing. And that is the definition of insanity, is doing the same things over and over and over, expecting different results, and it's not going to happen. So it's my journey, and the things that God, the path that God has put me on, the people, the books, the classes, the experiences that I have been tremendous and very helpful on my healing journey. And my healing journey started in the fall of 2015, and it is continually ongoing, and it will never end, because once we choose to get on the path of healing, we're like onions. We have layers and layers and layers of emotions and experiences, and we're just going through the layers and layers and layers. And honestly, I'm a firm believer in generational stuff. We have a lot of generational stuff. So when we go into healing, not only are we healing for ourselves, but we are healing for our ancestors as well. And when we heal, it's not only helping the ones that have gone before us and ourselves, but it is helping the generations after us, our children, our children's children, and so on. It is such a gift that we are doing. So check out that link, share it with others. This book was written for the intention of all adults and teens alike, to heal spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And you can be anywhere on your journey of healing. And I think there's good pointers to help anybody. So with that being in mind, I want to ask this question: why are we so hard on ourselves? It's just natural. It's the natural thing to do, right? We're so forgiving and kind for the most part to other people. And if someone makes a mistake, we're just like, oh, well, you're just learning, or, oh, it's no problem. But when we make the mistake, we hound ourselves. We hound and go, why did I do that? And we rehash, and we go back in our mind, and why did I do it that way? Oh, why didn't I say this? Or I should have did this, and should have said this. And we are just so unforgiving of ourselves. And I came across a Facebook post today that a friend had shared on her page, and it was saying, you know, we need to forgive ourselves. Most times when that forgiveness comes into play, it needs to be toward ourselves. And it is so true. And I'm going to say, look, if we can't forgive ourselves, then we cannot forgive other people around us. So it is so important that we ask ourselves, have I forgiven myself over this particular matter? If there is something that just keeps coming up, it's time to let it go. It's time to give it to God and let it go, and feel the power of God and the healing atonement of Jesus Christ in your life. Let go, let God, give it to them, because they are there, and they are wanting healing for us. Now, why is it that when we are so hard on ourselves, we have all these huge expectations that we place on ourselves? We have this, oh, I've got to get this done by a certain time, or I want to do this, or or I want to have it this way, or whatever. We have these expectations, and sometimes those expectations that we have for ourselves are so unrealistic. I hate to say it, but I've been very guilty of this myself. Having a large family, and it's not our job to have, it's not our job on worrying about how every, I hate to say it, but I just grew up in this culture where you had everybody, you had to be perfect. You had to look perfect, be perfect, and not make many mistakes. By dang, don't let anybody know that you make mistakes, and then you're going to be looked down upon or whatever. And so when you come from this, perfectionism culture, it's really hard. And especially I feel like the pressure that they put on women, this culture, and women, this pressure that they put on themselves. And I wouldn't say it's everybody doing it and placing that on the women, but I just think we put all this pressure and all this stuff on ourselves. And it's important to be forgiving of yourself and give yourself some slack, just like you would a dear friend. If a friend called you up and said, hey, I have this going on, I've got all this, maybe you're throwing on a party, or maybe you're planning a meeting, or doing something big for a family or community, and you're starting to stress out, and you've got all the food preparations or whatever, and everything planned for what needs to happen, and you're getting all your ducks in a row, so to speak, and you just, maybe you call this friend, and this friend, you're like, hey, I've got this going on, and I'm just really, I'm feeling so overwhelmed, and your friend says, well, gosh, you're doing really good. You look what all you've accomplished, and you know what, it's going to turn out great. And that friend is a cheerleader, right? That friend is like, wow, I mean, you're doing awesome. But in the back of our minds, we're just beating ourselves up because I could have done this, or I should have done this, and I could have done better. And we could beat ourselves up all the time. And honestly, that's just the adversary. That's the adversary that wants us to feel like we are never enough. And we aren't going to be perfect. Drop the perfectionism. If you feel like you've got that going on in your life, drop the perfectionism, because we're not going to be perfect. And there's no such thing as perfect. So having this self-love and this forgiving yourself on anything and everything. We are commanded in the Bible. It specifically says that we are to forgive everyone. And when we are to forgive everyone, that includes ourselves. And it's like love. Forgiveness is like love. You cannot love another person unless you love yourself. You cannot forgive other people unless you have forgiven yourself. Learn to forgive yourself. If you feel like you haven't forgiven yourself from past mistakes, or maybe you had things that had happened to you that wasn't even your fault, but it was a big traumatic experience. Forgive yourself for the ugly years of depression and hard spots, right? I felt like I was the most ugly person on the planet for 30 plus years because I was so stuck, and I didn't know there was a better way. I didn't know how to get out of that. And it's important that we are able to forgive ourselves. Truly love yourself where you are at right now. Maybe you feel like you've made the hugest mistake of your life today. Maybe you felt like you made the hugest mistake of your life 3 years ago, 3 days ago, 3 weeks ago. It really doesn't matter. Just forgiving ourselves is so important. And the one thing that I've done was write a forgiveness letter for myself, to myself. And I encourage everybody to take this opportunity to do for themselves. Plan on 2 to 3 hours, and it is an amazing self-care time. But you plan on 2 to 3 hours, a box of Kleenex, some water, stay hydrated. You're going to cry your eyes out. At least I did. But and have some paper, pen, pencil. I like pencil because it's actually including another sense. I'm totally into mindfulness, and if you do pencil versus pen, you actually hear the scratching and you feel it more. Pen glides, so that doesn't, that's just minor detail. But so get something to write with and some paper, and think of 5 to 11 things in your lifetime that you want to forgive yourself for. 5 to 11 things. Do not go more than 11, because this is not a bash yourself day or time. This is just a way to clear a bunch of stuff, right? So 5 to 11 things, bullet point them, write those down, and then write a letter to yourself, truly forgiving yourself and letting go. And it's going to bring up all sorts of emotions up to the surface. And I want you to feel them. Allow yourself the ebb and flow, and to feel those emotions and to release and let go. And as soon as you are done, it's going to be 2 to 3 hours. Maybe you're quicker than me. I don't know. But whatever it takes you. And when you are done, we don't want that negative energy to hang around. So I want you to burn it or shred it. Get rid of it. And it is so healing. What it did for me is, after I wrote a forgiveness letter for myself, I was able to look at myself in a whole different light. Because before that experience, I would look at my old self, and I'd have these pangs of guilt, these pangs of shame, these pangs of not being enough, and these pangs of, I wish I would have said this, or I wished I could have done things differently. And it was hurtful to look back. But after I did this forgiveness letter for myself, I've been able to look at my old self in a loving way, from a third party person. It's like that person, that beautiful version of me in my 20s and 30s, or early mid 30s and up into the late 30s, she just didn't have the tools. She didn't know any better. Oh my gosh. I love her. I love her, and I'm going to send her love. And I am grateful for the tools that I have now, and I'm moving forward in a healthier manner. And no, I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes. And it's important that we learn to forgive. Once you do that forgiveness letter, forgiving yourself after that is so much easier. You're not as stuck. And it is so, so important to recognize that the one that we need to forgive most is ourself. Start with yourself, and then do a letter for all the other people, one at a time, of course, as you can, and take that time. But it is healing, and I promise, when we do forgiveness letters towards other people, and again, you're going to burn it, shred it when you're done, but you're going to be able to get a lot off of your chest, and then you're going to be able to go, you're going to be able to, just as you were able to look at yourself in a whole different light, you're going to look at them in a whole different light. They just did the best they knew how with the tools that they had. But you know what? I'm just going to love them, and I'm going to be more understanding towards them, and I'm just going to let them live their life. That's the beautiful thing of agency. They get to choose. It's not our job to change other people around us. And that was what I was trying to do for so many years. I was trying to change my husband, trying to change my kids, not even thinking about changing myself. I was just thinking about changing the world around me. And the only way you are going to change the world around you is to change yourself. Start looking at your heart, your mind within. Look with what's going on within. How do you feel? Are you in chaos? Are you in turmoil? Are you just not feeling good all the time? Are you just unsettled, and you just have stuff stirring in you that does not feel right and is unsettling? Then that's when we need to look within and make the changes within. And starting with a forgiveness letter for ourselves is the perfect way to do it, to get on that path of healing. And honestly, involving God and Christ in your journey. And for that guidance, when you ask those questions, what do you want me to start doing? What do you want me to stop doing? They will guide you into your healing journey, and they will put the right people, the right classes, things in your path. So God bless. Please share this channel with others. Please subscribe and help me let this channel grow organically and help others on their healing journey. It is my mission and my purpose to help others heal, because if I'm able to do it, I know healing is available for everyone that chooses to have healing come into their life, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. God bless, and until next time, bye.